Hey guys, I hope you guys are still having fun at home and that you're being safe. I know you guys have loved hearing your teachers read books to you, and so I thought I would read another one to you. This one's called Caps for Sale, and it was one of my favorite books as a kid, so I thought I would share it with you guys. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like any ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First he had his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, then on the very top a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the street, holding himself very straight as to not upset his caps. And as he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street, and he walked down the street, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody even wanted a red cap. And he began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said, and he walked out of town, slowly, slowly, as to not upset his caps. He walked for a very long time until he came upon a great tree. "This is a nice place for a rest," he thought, and he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk as to not disturb his caps. Then he put up his hand to feel if they were still straight. First his own checked cap, then a gray cap, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps at the very top. They were all there, so he went to sleep, and he slept for a long time. When he woke up, he felt refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place, and all he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him, no caps. He looked to the left of him, no caps. He looked in the back of him, no caps. And he looked behind the tree, no caps. Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey, and on every monkey was a gray, a brown, a blue, or a red cap. The peddler looked at the monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do, and finally he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them, "you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tsk, tsk, 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 tsk." This made the peddler angry, so he shook his fist at them and he said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys just looked back at him and said, "Tsk, tsk, 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 tsk." Now he felt quite angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." And the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tsk, tsk, 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 tsk." By this time the peddler was very angry. He stamped both his feet and he shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tsk, tsk, 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 tsk." At last he became so angry that he took off his cap and he threw it on the ground and he began to walk away. But then each of the monkeys pulled off their cap, and all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps at the very top. And slowly, slowly he walked back into town, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." The end. I hope you guys liked that book. This was one of my favorites as a kid. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys are still staying safe. I hope you guys are washing your hands. And I hope you're being good for your moms and your dads and that you're not too stir crazy.